Hello, everyone. Welcome back. MTL Sports here, episode 170. Your boy got a different background going on today on the West Coast for the week while we are going through some NBA free agency. Just kicked off about an hour ago at 6 o'clock. The signings are now just pouring in, so we might be taking some little breaks here and there to discuss some of the bigger signings. There's always been some big signings, so we'll go over that. But our main focus is the draft and UFC 3. Well, what are we on? 317, the recap from last Saturday. Two big main event fights. One was shorter than expected, but lots of recap there. So, for all that being said, guys, stay tuned. Hello, everyone. We're back. Let's get into this NBA draft before we hit up NBA free agency. Like I said, just opened up about an hour and a half ago. And then UFC, we're going over UFC 317 that happened over the weekend. Draft wise, Lawrence, did you get a chance to watch the draft this past Wednesday and Thursday?
I have not been paying too much attention to the draft. I paid attention to the first round. I know we got Trey Johnson for the Wizards and was pretty proud of that one. I do enjoy seeing that one go down.
Yeah, let's talk about it. The obvious two picks, Cooper Flag and Dylan Harper, they go to the Mavericks and Spurs respectively. Not nothing out the ordinary there. At three is where it kind of got crazy. BJ Edgecombe was predicted to go there after Ace Bailey try to do some of his fuckery and try to slide down the draft board. Number four, Knuppel went to the Hornets, right? But there was talks that the Wiz and them would switch picks, but they didn't. And then Ace Bailey goes five to the Utah Jazz, which I still don't think he's flown to the. I think he like just landed, but there was like some some shenanigans going on with that. And then the Wiz get Trey Johnson. So do you like those picks, one through six? I definitely like the Trey Johnson pickup for the Wiz.
I mean, I like Ace Bailey as a player, but as a player, he's going to be for the Jazz is, I would say, pretty questionable. It
Mm,
doesn't seem like he really wants to be there, and if someone doesn't want to be there, they're probably not going to give you their best foot forward every night going into games. So it could kind of come back at him as a liability to have him as well.
yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I mean, he's under team control for what, the next 4 or 5 seasons at most. Maybe he pulls his eye on and doesn't give 100%. Just does enough to get a rookie max extension. But I get the vibes he doesn't want to be there. Really wanted to go to the Wiz apparently. Wiz could have used him. I mean, I think that would have been the best fit for him, the Wiz, because he could make tough shots and he has plenty of time to develop. Along with all the other young guys, Utah just has like a collection of talent. They really don't have a direction, so I think he can just go there and kind of screw around and kind of get away with some of that stuff. Trey Johnson, I love just because the Wiz needs scoring, and after Poole leaving, I mean, you just need someone to go get buckets. So honestly, like I think Trey Johnson could probably get like close to 20 a game in his rookie season, right? I'm like projecting like 16 plus points per game. What about you?
Well, I kind of am under the assumption he's probably going to be their leading scorer. So yeah, 16 kind of it feels a little generous. I mean, or sorry, a little rude. I feel like he's going to be in the 18s, probably
Mm,
almost 19. Like personally, there is no other scoring threat on the Wiz outside of like old vets and well,
yeah.
most time when you get old vets, they kind of make younger players look good as one of their biggest, I guess, pluses.
Yeah, I mean, other than him, Koulibaly, like he can score, but he's inconsistent. And then some of the other young guys, like they're not going to play because all the vets they got, like Smart, Chris Middleton's probably in the contention if he stays healthy to be the leading scorer. Still got Kispert, he can score in bunches. Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, they don't really have that guy anymore. And then I mean, further down the draft board, Jeremiah Fierce at Pelicans, I like that. Demon from BYU, they were better players, but
That
the
was a
Nets,
reach.
yeah, the Nets overall. Like, let's talk about the Nets. Like, they had 5 first round picks. They use all five. Like, I don't think I've ever seen that happen. They made some questionable decisions, don't you? What do you think?
I would agree with that. I also felt like they kind of missed on most of their first five. I mean, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't make sense to me. They should have at least tried to move up to like the Hornets were, really willing to move that pick at 4. I don't think they were completely sold on Knipple, so you could have easily jumped up and got Ace Bailey. Um, so I mean, I don't know what they were doing. You could have condensed 5 picks into like 2 or 3. I think that would have been just as good. Like you said, some of these picks I think are misses. What else do I like? I like Sorber going to the Thunder, a nice backup big for Hartenstein, and I guess eventually when Hartenstein becomes too expensive, you can just ship him off, and then you have Sorber with some like experience behind Hartenstein. What do you think?
I agree, but I kind of feel like the Thunder are just going to keep adding.
Hmm.
But there's no need to keep adding to this team. The team is already set, I believe. Because like Hartenstein, do you think you're going to get anything better than that? And I think don't they have him for a few years, correct?
Yeah, he's definitely there for a few years, but like I think like in probably like not next year, but like maybe the year after next, like he might be like a casualty of the cap, right? Like he just might be too expensive, and they might not be willing to pay super luxury tax. Like they might be willing to pay a little bit, but not like a lot. So he might just have to go somewhere else just to kind of minimize the tax.
Agree. Okay, I see where you're coming from. Um, I get it, and maybe in that sense, but I feel like in that sense as well, when you're coming to that, I guess, path in the road, you'll be so far along his, I guess, development path, and you
Hmm.
may not have seen a whole lot gained from him because there's always been Hartenstein in front of him.
Yeah, yeah. Hopefully, they'll just look like they're just banking on his potential. I mean, he played well. He's from Georgetown. A couple of games. Um, I think didn't Mason play Georgetown a couple times? I think he played well enough.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with him at all. I think it was just injuries. The only thing that ever stopped him a little.
The next pick, this kid from China. This pick didn't make any sense. Portland has they had a bunch of centers on the roster. They just got rid of one in Aiton, and we'll go over that later. But this guy was projected to go in the second round, Lawrence. Like I don't know if you know much about this Yang Hansen guy. Like he's definitely has upside, but like not first round pick 16 upside. That was a weird pick. Same thing with Behringer. I think he has a little bit of a reach right there. The center from France, and then Clayton Jr. Utah traded up to get him. Clearly, Miami. I mean, there was like a 95% chance Clayton Jr. went to Miami, so Utah jumped in front of them. Um, any thoughts on those couple picks right there?
Um, but well, first, I don't know much about him, but the Chinaman pick, like you were just saying, I
Hmm.
did hear everyone complaining about how that was like a complete reach, and like overpick on him. But then again, maybe they see something because you like a guy. There's no need to like, um, I guess undersell because if you think he's going to be as good as you think he's going to be, maybe second round is not doing him a justice. And if they already had intent of getting rid of Aiton, then the whole move seems premeditated from the jump. Because now looking back, now that Aiton's getting bought out, it does seem like that was just a move to fill the next void that they'll have in their roster.
Yeah, I agree. Clayton Jr. going to Utah, I think is good for him. No pressure to like immediately contribute. I think if he went to Miami, it's like, all right, kid, like coming off a national championship, like we expect you to do big things here, um, and kind of like keep the success going in Miami. But yeah, I think Utah's a good place for him. He can score as much as he wants and develop hopefully some of his defensive game and kind of fix his turnovers because he's kind of turnover prone.
Well, how do you feel about your Heedle pickup?
Yeah, so I was about to move to that. Pick 19, Nolan Troyor. I think that's how you pronounce it from France. I mean, I would have been happy with him. Kasparis Yakuchunes. I mean, I think that's the pick of the draft right there. I mean, he was. I mean, I don't know how many mock drafts you looked at pre-draft, but I've seen mock drafts as had him as high as 7, and none of them had him slipping out of the top 14. So to get him at 20, you basically get a lottery pick at 20, and it's nothing negative with the reason he fell. I think he just fell because of the run on centers. Like teams just started scrambling for centers once the first couple went off the board, and then Portland, of course, like really sold it that he was going to fall to at least 18, 19, 20 range. So I really like him. Looking at his film, uh, really good playmaker, probably the best playmaker they had since Dragic. Um, can shoot, even though I know his 3-point percentage isn't the best in college, but like he can definitely shoot. I know he had an injury in the back half of the year that kind of caused his shooting percentages to go down. Um, and he can attack the basket really well for someone who's not super athletic. Like I love that he can draw fouls, kind of like Luca. He reminds me of like a mix between like a Luca and like Lamelo. Like Lamelo with like the crafty kind of passing and like dribbling, and then Luca with like driving to the basket, getting like these like kind of cheeky and ones and stuff like that, and with and kind of like the playmaking abilities. What do you think? Have you watched any of Illinois' games?
Yeah, so honestly, if you knew anything about the college basketball season, him getting mono was probably like the derailment of Illinois' season last year. Um, when he got mono, and then when he came back from mono, he was also not very good for a few games. Um, so I think that also just has to go back into how good of an asset he will be for you guys. But I mean, just strictly on this team literally could have made a bigger run if he just didn't get mono. Because going into the games before that, I'm pretty sure this man was like had to be at least be averaging 14 or 15 a game, and then after it was probably more down to like 11 or 12. You could tell a big shift of his game kind of dissipated. I don't know how much getting mono can take out of your game and like your energy levels, but it felt like it had some sort of impact. But overall, as a player, he was awesome.
Yeah, I'm excited. He might not start right away. Most Heat rookies don't start. I mean, look at Bam, he didn't start. Tyler Hero, he didn't start. Ware didn't start until the back half of the season at that. So I don't expect him to start, but he'll definitely be at least a six man because he needs minutes, and we need some point guard play because we don't really have any of that. So I'm really excited about that. The rest of the draft, I like the Will Riley pickup by the Wiz. They need a athletic wing. Fleming, I will say Fleming, falling to the second round, I feel like was a surprise to me. I was pretty high on Fleming. I know, I mean, we watched him up close and personal, Lawrence, and he was just cooking us. Um, for a guy that big, he's pretty athletic, can shoot, can defend, can play make. I don't see how he fell out the second round. What do you think? He went to Phoenix.
I just simply think that it was people just stopped putting stock into. I don't know. I feel like second round is just a bunch of hoopla. Because you got to look at it another way. There's so many people who didn't get picked up at all in the draft. Like Hunter Dickinson was pretty lethal all 4 years of college, 5 years of college. He went undrafted. The fact that no one took a second round pick on him, and there's just other ones around the league, like uh, what was it, Spears? Was it Marcus Spears from Alabama? He went undrafted. I think it's just a lot of people
Yeah.
just throwing darts at a board in the second round.
Yeah, I would agree. It's a lot of guys that probably should have got drafted didn't. I think that's probably a lot of teams like kind of banking on these foreign kids to be like the next Jokic or Luca or like something like that. So I don't know. Uh, moving to free agency is crazy right now. A lot of moves. Probably the biggest thing so far. LeBron opts in, and then Rich Paul makes that statement, talking about LeBron's evaluating the Lakers situation, and you know LeBron wants to win now, and it doesn't really line up with the Lakers' timeline of, I guess, building to the future. Do you take any stock in that, Lawrence? Do you think LeBron's kind of laying the groundworks of a trade request, or do you think it's just smoke and mirrors? Like he's just putting pressure on them.
Um, I kind of more so think that he is kind of requesting a trade. Personally, for me, I feel like LeBron probably does care about a title, just based on his age, and if he was to win one at his current age, like what stock it does for his overall career. And I just don't honestly think you can win it right now with LA. And part of the reason I don't believe you can win it in LA is kind of just based on his salary structure. For him not to be able to play a full season at the way you're paying him, and then for you, what you don't get out every few games just because he's dealing with an injury here or dealing with an injury there. Like Luka needs a game in, game out. I guess second duo that's going to put up 20, 25 for $50 million a year.
Yeah. I'm like, I keep going between 25 and like 33% of LeBron asking out. I really do think he's just waiting for them to make moves, like kind of like Giannis is, and then like if they're not like up to par, then he's gonna say peace out, like I'm out of here, and then they'll probably have to trade him for pennies on the dollar because he's super old. Yet it's LeBron. You can probably squeeze one more good year out of him, maybe two. So I don't know. I don't know. We'll have to see. And they just lost Dorian Finney-Smith. He signed with the Rockets. I think what four? What was it like 4 years? It's somewhere down. He was one of the first signings. 4 years, $53 million. Brook Lopez just got signed to the Clippers. I think like 2 years, $8 million, something like that. So their best wing went. Yeah, they signed this kid Jake LaRivia. I never heard of him, but I mean, I would prefer Dorian Finney-Smith. Some people are saying this kid is like just as good, if not a little bit better. We'll have to see about that. They're pretty much waiting on Aiton. Like Aiton's like their last bet for center, really. I mean, Clint Capella went to the Rockets. Luke Cornett went to the Spurs. After that, it's not really any centers unless you're going to trade for Walker Kessler. I don't think he's going anywhere. So do you think the Lakers can make a compelling case to um, make LeBron want to not ask for a trade, or even then make a compelling case for Luka to stay after this season?
I think there's a problem. I don't think there's going to be an issue for them keeping Luka after this season. Um, I think
Okay.
if you pay Luka the right way and tell him futurely you're going to retool correctly, and if you do trade LeBron and you get some tools in return who through this season help Luka, I don't think you have a hard time keeping him as well. I think your actions this season will determine whether or not you can keep Luka long term. But personally,
Yeah.
I feel like trying to hang around and like keep do all this stuff for LeBron, if he's not going to be there forever, and at this point, you're just not in a winning right now mode as a team franchise.
Yeah. I mean, they're definitely in like let's make smart moves type of thing. 'Cause they only have one pick, and they're not totally sure if Luka's going to stay. So they kind of precarious situation. Other big moves in free agency, my Heatles re-signed Davion. That was a good pickup. 2 years, 24 million. So they got him for a decent deal, not too expensive. They're under the luxury tax. We'll see what they do. Duncan Robinson opted out, so they have some room, some money to play with. They've been linked to like Nikhil Alexander Walker, which I think would be a good pickup. Ty Jerome got signed. That was another name. There are also some reports that they might go after Kaminga, but there's some reports saying that they haven't really talked to him yet. So we'll see about that. Jaren Jackson Jr. staying. Lawrence, 5 years, $240 million. How you feel about that?
That was a done deal when Bane left. Because you let Bane walk like that, Jackson Jr. wasn't going anywhere.
I agree. I agree. Jordan Clarkson's getting bought out. Um, he's like linked to the Knicks, so he might go there. Aldama staying with the Grizzlies. Ty Jerome's going to the Grizzlies. The Grizzlies got a nice little squad going. I like what they got going on. Let's just hope that Jaw can stay relatively healthy, and they don't really, make the play in again because they definitely should be at least a top. top five, top six team in the West, even with Bane leaving. So who knows if they got some more up their sleeve. Like we said, Dwayne Finney-Smith to the Rockets, Paul Reeves back to the Pistons. Pistons also signed, I believe, what's his name, Karis LeVert. So I don't think Duncan Robinson is going to the Pistons. So we'll see. And it says right here, Cole Anthony, he's looking for a new team. We went over Jake LaRavia, Trey Jones staying with the Bulls, nice pickup there. Another big signing, D'Angelo staying with or heading to Dallas, reuniting with AD, 2 years, $13 million. Um, I like the pickup. It's mutually beneficial. D'Angelo gets a fresh start. Um, and Mavs need a point guard, so D'Lo will have a chance to start for like pretty much the whole season. I think Kyrie's probably coming back like February, March at the earliest. So, how you feel about D'Lo heading to the Mavs, Lawrence?
D'Lo to the Mavs just makes sense. You got a big man that needs the ball. Well, yeah, I would
Mm.
say Gafford's a big man that likes the ball lobbed in or you know passed in. Um, PJ Washington can fill in and do his own thing, but I think overall the way this team needs to operate, Clay has to have that ball put in a pocket so he can pick up and shoot. I feel like you did have to go through the season with a competent point guard. Otherwise, you're just kind of kicking this season to the curb.
Yeah, yeah. The Mavs have to go all in, so I think D'Lo can fill in and do just enough, just good enough job so that when Kyrie comes back, they can take off and try to make a late playoff, I guess, seeding push. They might be like like the seventh, eighth seed with D'Lo, and then Kyrie comes back. They'll try to push for like a top four seed in the West. The West is stacked. The Nuggets are definitely pushing all the chips in. They trade Michael Porter Jr. For Cam Johnson. I love this deal. Cam Johnson's younger, cheaper, and pretty much does the same stuff as MPJ. Uh, but I mean, you kind of losing the rebounding, but he's a just as good of a shooter, can play make a little bit better, and plays way better defense. What do you think about this move from the Nuggets? And they re-signed Bruce Brown. So what do you think about those two moves?
I just think it's big moves. I like big play moves. I think Bruce Brown had some of the best, basically had his best years with Denver. So letting him go back finally, uh, smart move. But I also think we were saying it last year all the time. Porter is just I didn't want to say a liability, but man, that man we would say, oh, he's got to put up 15 for them to have a chance to win. And this man go out there and put up like 8 or 7, and it's just like, how are you not even getting double digits? And arguably, you're the third man. There isn't anyone
Yeah,
else.
yeah,
You're getting
like
outscored by Chris Braun.
yeah. I mean, it's don't want. I mean, at the time, like you won a championship, okay, you can get extended. Like you said that kind of after the Thunder won. Like, yeah, you have to reward these guys, and you've seen a couple of those guys got paid. That's kind of what happened to MPJ. But at the end of the day, man, he's just like a glorified role player. Like he's just too inconsistent to be like that third star. So they shipped him out. They got Cam Johnson, Bruce Brown, way better fit in Denver than pretty much anywhere else. So I like it. That's pretty much all we got for now. We'll see what happens later on this week. Aiton has to clear waivers before he can sign, so that'll take place on Wednesday. Kaminga's looking like he might head back to the Warriors. Same with Duncan Robinson. He might be heading back to the Heat, pending some type of sign and trade somewhere. Um, we'll see. We'll keep up with LeBron. We'll keep up with oh, I don't think we talked about Julius Randle. How you feel about Julius Randle staying for the T Wolves? 3 years, $100 million, I think. So with that, they're losing Nikhil Walker, but uh, you gotta give it up. Julius Randle did play well for the Timberwolves.
Yeah, he was leading scorer, but every game he didn't score well, they did lose. So
Yeah,
he really has to, I would say, solidify himself.
yeah, he gotta keep up the consistency for sure. Last up on my list of things, UFC. I think it was 317, right? Saturday night. What did you think about the fights? What did you think about that? The very last fight of the night. A little underwhelming to say the least, right?
Well, I just think that goes to show like Ilya Taporia may or may not be like one of the best we've ever seen.
Hmm.
Because it's just getting crazy every week. He's or not every week, every fight night he's in, or every night he fights, he's just taking out the best there ever have been. He took out Max. He took out what is it, Charles Oliveira last night. But Oliveira also, I don't know. I feel like he also showed his age a little bit in that fight. He looked old, straight out walking to the ring before the fight, like the days up leading to it. He looked old. So not really ideal what you want to see, like your guy looking old coming into this. Next, a Pantoja. I mean, straight up just pure dominant performance.
Beat the
I
hell
don't
out of
think you,
him.
yeah, I don't think you could have gotten more out of Pantoja. Brandon Royale and Josh Van. Honestly, I thought that was like fight of the night. I thought that was probably one of the best fights I've seen all year so far. Um, but when I heard it was unanimous decision for Josh Van, and I heard a 30-27, I was like, who? What fight were you watching that like? Because the 29-28s, and if he had one unanimous decision 29-28, I wouldn't have batted an eye, wouldn't have cared. We would have gone ways because he won. He could have very easily won the first round. He did not win the second round, but the third round, like he pretty much stole it at the end when he had him on the ground and was beating the crap out of him in the last 10 seconds. But to say it was 30-27 after Royval like out significantly striked him like 80-54 in that round, which is insane. Don't like the way that one was judged a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, unanimous with that 30-27, one judge scoring the fight like that. I don't agree with that at all. The rest of the fights, I didn't watch the prelims, but any other fights you want to touch on?
The Cortez fight was pretty awesome. The Darush Moicano, that was kind of underwhelming. I thought they were going to do a little more. Money Moicano kind of got gassed out. Peyton Talbert absolutely destroyed Lima. Um, I thought he put on like a display, a good performance night. He would beat him up, take him to the ground. He was supposed to be not that good at ground defense, and then he proved to everyone that he does have ground defense now. So he is kind of becoming a threat weapon. Um, didn't watch the Greg Rodriguez fight. I think I took a little break after the Tracy Cortez um, performance. She put on a good show. Um, Tracy McKinney, absolutely lethal guillotine choke, or I guess it was a guillotine choke. Nico Price stepped in. I think they said he was the biggest underdog of all time, and Jacoby Smith was the biggest favorite of all time. And yeah, it was he beat the hell out of him, and it was quite easy for him. And in the first fight, it was what you think of when you think of opening round fight for a card.
Yeah. Breaking news. Nikhil Alexander Walker is heading to the Hawks on a sign-in trade. How you feel about this off the first glance, Lawrence? I think the Hawks are using their trade exception to absorb the contract, but the Hawks, I think have the off had like the off season. This had like the best off season so far, other than the Rockets.
Well, I think that definitely gives them some power off the bench. That's for sure. And maybe that's something that I don't pay enough attention to the Hawks. But maybe that's something the Hawks have needed is some power off the bench.
Yeah, they definitely need some firepower off the bench, and I mean they got Dyson Daniels, and they got now they got Nikhil to kind of help Trey out. Trey doesn't have to shoulder the whole load, so I like it. The Hawks quietly having a good summer. Other than that, Lawrence, I don't have anything else. Do you?
No, I do not. I got nothing for you.
There you go. That's it for us. NTL Sports episode 170. Thank you for watching on YouTube. Thank you for listening on Spotify, all that good stuff. No episode later this week, so it's the only time we're going to see you. So we will catch up with you guys next week. So stay tuned and we'll see you next week. Peace.
Peace out.